Hello, and welcome to an adventure like no other. Far more than what you have known, there is something far more to be known than you can ever know. And it is all about you, the real you, your real awareness with your intuitive senses. You were never taught that the real you, your real awareness, is operating 5 bodies in cause and effect, restricting creation. You have been taught to think that you are only a one-dimensional human person, with a mind and emotions, and with a very short lifespan on this planet Earth. More than what your mind can grasp is your intuitive senses that can be opened to see beyond all your restrictions. You have always had an opening to see beyond what you have known, and this has been purposely kept from you, and this is where you have heard rumors and stories about your nightly dreams. Your so-called dreams is your opening to your intuitive senses that will allow you, the personal you, to excel beyond what you have previously known. Everyone has intuitive senses, and very few people take advantage of what is possible by recognizing something more than their mind can understand. Creation has its place for all of us, and then there is all life, which is far more than anything than what can become with creation. Everything we experience is necessary for us to survive with whatever we choose and decide our life to be. New Kevin Smith is the great witness to something more than what can be taught and learned in any school. It can be so that when anyone first listens to Kevin's intuitive side experiences, also known as real side experiences, from what their personal mind has known, Kevin's manner of expression will at first be rather different to comprehend. This is where this introduction and reading the new books and Facebook groups will help. Have fun deciding. DUANE the Great Writer and Seer.
This real side experience would be further verification that the inbound to Earth alien Armada is still on track. Throughout multi-dimensional creation, at this moment, vast numbers of body types and varied species are electing to step up and become more aware, to set their personal intent with the real awareness, real intent of is recognition, and this would include the more notoriously and abrasively renowned species such as the reptilians, etc. As beings set intent with the all is, so their motivations and drives will be more that which serves as a benefit, life and awareness are speaking. For after all, the essence of the everything reality is the continued self-recognition of its own endlessness, facilitated through the real awareness that we each are, recognizing the true reality through the creational process, through the comparison that creation provides. The ideas, the parts, the pieces of the whole made possible to isolate through creational mechanics, that comparison to the everything reality is possible as we switch between the two positions, that of the personal self and the nowness of the real awareness isness. And as we recognize the real awareness that we are, as we step into this position, as the real awareness is this everything isness, so we embrace the imperative, the essence of the isness we are a part of, that of endless self-recognition, and our actions and activity in creation will be coordinated in accordance with this isness imperative. We operate in ways that make sense with the life that we and everything actually is, in supporting of all awareness capacities, as opposed to restricting and controlling that all those who are immersed and locked into the personal self-consciousness will be inclined to generally do. For the personal self alone cannot see beyond itself, perceiving everything in terms of segregation and isolation, adopting the mentality of competition, achieving and claiming status positioning, etc., at the expense of others, where in reality the personal self is simply a created tool, and animating through everything that appears separate from its personal perspective of view is in reality the same everything isness reality. Underlying everything creational will be this same isness recognizing real purpose, and from that more expansive view perspective, so realization is of everything being the same true reality, and to not assist and support others would in actuality be limiting and restricting one's self, the isness everything is. And so formulated in recent moments has been a vast alien armada comprising of varied and assorted species and body types, all of a stepping up and is recognizing persuasion, and an expression of their desire to operate in supporting of awareness capacities is to make contact with humanity on a global scale, as arranged by the guides, as agreed to by the Armada, with the ideal objective of bringing humanity into their conglomeration of awareness becoming a species. Naturally, the dark forces are adamant in preventing this from taking place, but as everything an individual or species experiences is based on what they decide, the agreements as installed in their consciousness, the only way a species can impose on another is if the target species agrees that this can be so. Necessary is it to have the target species accept and agree with the imposition, install the ideas into a consciousness, and this will be the shared effected experience by the species involved. In reality, then, that the Armada can successfully reach the earth, present themselves to humanity, and bring them into their confederation of awareness beings, without the dark forces able to prevent this event from taking place, is dependent on what humanity decides. And over the years, and indeed centuries, as has been revealed to me on the real side, have the new friends, DUANE and the guides, been constant in efforts to have the agreements of human consciousness be of such a nature that this pivotal event be able to be executed. For as agreement is the foundation of all assimilation, so it's a case of constantly reordering and rearranging the agreement idea files that this Armada event can be so, physical level speaking. For in reality, it and every idea in a consciousness is in effect, in isness, nowness terms, the ideas just take the processing moments they will to be physical level actualized. There are many variations in regards to the alien Armada event. Ideally, as I said, humanity in its entirety will become as a part of the awareness alien conglomeration of a species, but additionally have I been shown the potentialities of the Armada unable to even arrive, or that they do, and only certain humans, those releasing their attachment to a created consciousness, can be evacuated from the earth, should the earth be retained as being in very controlled circumstances, or apocalyptic dark force instigated events become so. Since childhood have I had a recurring real side experience, that of the skies outside my house being filled with all manner and design of alien craft, and only in more recent moments would I come to recognize the significance of this constant view, that being a verification that the Armada is maintained as to its Earth arrival. That although I am shown the various potential banana skins and dark force disrupting efforts, where necessary on occasion is it for the Armada to be momentarily stood down and delayed, as I said, the ongoing effort is then to reformat the agreement foundation that effects all experience, if indeed we are even able to do so, that the alien Armada can get back on track and its objective resumed, that of reaching the Earth without incident. And when I am then shown the view on the real side of the alien Armada filling the skies, this is indication that the alien Armada is at least still on course for Earth. But if the ideal scenario becomes so, that of the entirety of humanity being included into the awareness becoming alien species conglomeration, is always a subject to agreement on an individual basis and remains to be seen. In this real side experience then, I would be within my UK recreated house. I would be drawn to exit the building and proceed to the end of the street. Generally, the view of the alien Armada is of the skies filled with the various assorted craft, but oftentimes I may be shown specific craft that are a part of the fleet, but impressions revealing that the representation is of the Armada still on course for Earth. In this case, the particular craft would number 3, and of a design that I have seen before as incorporated into the overall Armada, for they would be spherical, their overall size indeterminable without a comparable reference, which was unavailable, what with they being at a high elevation in the skies, and they would be of a glowing orange coloration. Incidentally, the skies would be dark, as though this were a night scene, the glow of the orange crafts affording a stark contrast to the blackness of the night sky. Each of the 3 craft seemed to present a different intensity and brightness of orange, as though they were generating a luminosity that wasn't uniform. I would be standing in the street among large numbers of other humans, so in this instance the craft of the Armada, or at least these particular crafts, were visible to humanity. For a number of real-side experiences shared by myself and others have revealed the possibility of the alien Armada only being visible to certain humans, that those that have embraced their awareness processes have received a kind of consciousness adjustment where they can perceive the craft, the aliens, and interact with them physically, whereas the vast bulk of humanity in such experiential future view cases have remained locked into the dark force managed consciousness, and for them the Armada cannot feature as experience. It will be featuring as everything, every idea is present in the nowness of the ears, but the creational mechanics, the body forms, only afford a certain of the everything taking place in creation to be experienced. The physical level body forms only designed to decode and present the simulation of the ideas that are the physical level. In such scenarios where only certain humans can perceive the Armada, so the fleet and the aliens involved are operating at slight variance from the frequency range the human physical body is able to perceive and experience, as though slightly out of a phase vibrationally. The consciousness adjustments for those on their awareness processes, however, ensure the affected body forms can perceive and interact with the frequency the alien armada will be operating within, one that is slightly out of phase with the physical level should such be necessary. In the event, say, of planetary upheavals, and where the armada may still arrive at Earth, but under the frequency radar, so to speak, and afford planetary relocation for the humans who are on their awareness processes. Not ideal, as the objective of the Armada was for the benefit of humanity in its entirety, but better than nothing. As I said, there were a large number of humans present with me, watching the skies, observing these three spherical orange glowing craft, and as it transpired, craft that were visible to all of humanity in this version, this particular potential alien armada future view, as though these three craft were the forerunners of the armada, those making their presence known before the entirety of the fleet, with all its assorted design of a craft, would feature in every sky of the world. I revealed on previous real-side experiences that the particular craft leading the Armada was of a black triangular design, and although these three orange spheres were the only craft initially present in the skies, the very same triangular craft would still be featuring at that moment, for I would have the simultaneous view of it emerging from a large body of water, as though it had indeed been the first ship to arrive, had done so covertly, and had submerged itself beneath a sea or other, until the orange spheres had made their presence known, which heralded the impending arrival of the entire Armada fleet. This would indeed then proceed to take place, the ships of the Armada filling every sky of every continent of the earth, perceivable to every human, regardless of they being on their awareness processes or not. In this experience and version of the alien Armada event, the impression was that it wasn't far removed from the current humanity experienced moment, as though the alien Armada is extremely imminent. As this is the most recent view regarding the Armada, this then is the idea being held to by humanity, the particular version of the Armada event that is set to become physical level manifested. The idea of it must be held to long enough to be physical level effected, and should another idea replace it in prominence, perhaps another alien Armada event version alternative, or maybe one of the innumerable apocalyptic style scenarios I have revealed over the years, then whatever idea that becomes the forerunner instead will begin to roll out to physical level actualization. Every idea agreement, including the various alien Armada event versions and global catastrophic scenarios, are present in consciousness, all effected in isness actuality, but the consciousness design dictates that only certain of the ideas are experienced at any given moment, as though the selecting of one movie from all those available and present on the shelf. And although the movie selected, and indeed all shelf-placed movies are present and completed, only the movie being processed through the simulation affording apparatus will be afforded as experience, and the effect outcome, the movie's end, only reached if the completed movie is processed through to its conclusion. Should the prominent idea agreement in human consciousness change, the movie is switched for another, and so it's all according to which ideas are retained in their prominence over all others, and are held to long enough, that become as overall human experience. As I said, this experience view then would be the current human consciousness idea held to, and it would be in regards to the alien armada successfully reaching the Earth, presenting itself for all of humanity to see, as opposed to scenarios where only certain humans can perceive, and indeed be relocated from the Earth, and there would be no indication of dark force catastrophic occurrences either being planned or impending, as though the Armada had beat the controllers to the punch, so to speak. A controller system still very much in place, but one that hadn't advanced much beyond the current moment. As I said, the impression of this version of the Armada event being rather imminent time-wise. And although I wasn't shown what would come of this, if indeed the Armada would bring humanity into its confederation of awareness becoming species, for the control system was very much still in operation, as I said, they at least were making themselves known on a global scale, the skies are filled with their assorted craft. What I would be shown is how the dark force controlled media of the world were trying to downplay the situation. The commonly utilized explanation was along the lines of a global mass hallucination brought on by various suggested causes, etc., a stretch to be sure. But it was as though the controllers could do nothing but attempt to convince humanity that the alien armada was of no significance, an irrelevant anomaly, suggesting the controllers couldn't prevent the armada carrying out their objective, that of potentially taking humanity with them and formulating them with their confederation of awareness species. But as everything experienced is based on agreement on an individual and a species basis, so the controllers' only recourse seemed to be to convince humanity to not extend agreement, to have humanity forfeit this opportunity as provided by the Armada and arranged by the real guides. Perhaps a human consciousness adjustment or overhaul had been exacted, as many real-side experiences I have shared reveals is an ongoing effort, that as a consciousness is altered, so is that which is effected from it, and maybe alterations in human consciousness to the extent that they no longer were resigned as a species to their dark force-controlled circumstances, their shackles released, in that they were at liberty to accept such an opportunity as afforded by the Armada, that of abandoning the controlled Earth to be repositioned in less restricting positions more conducive for awareness. And as I said, at that moment all the controllers could do as a desperate last bid was to convince humanity to decide not to take such an opportunity, with their explanations of how the alien fleet filling the skies didn't actually exist and was some form of mass delusion. The experience would end there, at a point where humanity really had to then decide. The option of a planetary relocation was available for all. Nothing could prevent this from taking place, other than each respective individual human's choice and agreement. As I said, this is the most recent view regarding overall humanity's experience, a little more uplifting than the various extinction and depopulation event scenarios, but then I am only revealing what humanity are deciding for themselves as a species, moment by moment, and what I revealed here will only come to pass if the idea effecting it is held to in prominence over all others long enough to become physical level actualized. But as I also pointed out, this version of humanity's overall experience is moments from being physical level exacted, so the idea agreement effecting it doesn't have to be clung to for long, as though the movie's culmination point is but a fraction away in relation to what already has been processed through.